Hi everyone, Chad Peterman here. This recording is from a Teams call I held with our leadership team here at Peterman, so the audio quality is a bit lower. In it, I talk about Maxwell's Law of the Lid and how we are trying to apply it in our organization. Enjoy.
But invest in yourself. As your effectiveness goes up, you too will go up. Because the people that rise, the people that take on new challenges, the people that do extraordinary things are the people that invested in themselves first.
Chad Peterman here, and you are listening to Can't Stop the Growth, a platform for leaders and teams to grow and thrive. We highlight the importance of personal development, pursuing greatness, and always chasing your potential. Let's get into it.
I believe I talked about quite a while ago, but it is on the lines of things that are very simplistic, right? It's things that we all can lose sight of easily. It's the easy things that we most oftentimes lose sight of when we are trying to lead others. And so what I'm going to be talking about is actually out of this book. So you can actually see how old this is. That's how you know I'm getting old, is when the pages start turning yellow on this sad boy. So I'm not super happy about that, but it is what it is. And this book here is by Maxwell. If anybody ever asks me what's the best book on leadership and the easiest one to understand, it's this one right here. So if you have not read it and you want to be a better leader for your people, you want to increase your influence, this book will literally give you step by step on how to do it and how to think. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about, in this book, it's the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. His first law is kind of the basis for the rest of the book. And that law is the law of the lid. A person's leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. So when we think about that, leadership determines our level of effectiveness. So I think oftentimes we can think about our effectiveness in a number of different ways. We can think about that as how much knowledge we have, how knowledgeable we are about how the business works, or how knowledgeable we are about this, that, or the other. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't hold a lot of weight, unfortunately. Is it good to have that knowledge? 100%. But what we'll talk about today is the ability to lead is not based on knowledge alone. It is based on your effectiveness. And Andrew talked about it last week in the one-on-ones and how impactful those are. And as I was preparing for this morning, one of the things I thought about was when it comes to growing our people, when it comes to getting more out of them, when it comes to, as I talked about a couple of weeks ago, when it comes to helping them make more money, your level of knowledge doesn't hold a lot of weight, right? Like the only way to impact or affect others is to spend time with them, right? I was thinking about parenting as I was trying to wrangle the two rascals this morning and getting ready for school. My level of effectiveness as a parent, I've got a hell of a lot more knowledge than they did most days. All right, most days. They don't care. They don't give a shit about how much I know or how important it is to brush your teeth or go to bed or do all of these things. They don't care. What do they care about? They care about the time I spend with them, right? I think we'd all agree that our effectiveness as parents comes down to how much time we spend with our family, how we show them that we care about them. Not only what we say, but what we do. The same thing goes for a marriage, right? There is time spent together. There are affirmations. There are all of these little things that in the moment seem like they go real damn far, do they? And I think it's why we lose touch of it. Well, this one-on-one isn't working. What if we said that about the relationships that we hold near and dear? What if we said that about a friendship? Everyone's got the friend who's always late, doesn't show up on time, always is. We've got that person, right? Everybody's got them. I hope you do. But guess what? It's part of it. We continue to call them. We continue to spend time with them. because that's how we develop the relationship. Leadership is no different. The more time that we spend with our people, they can see and feel and start to understand how much we care about them, and you would agree that your effectiveness is going to go up. What I can tell you is this, as it relates to what we're talking about, the law of the lid is going to increase your effectiveness as a leader. Because I can guarantee you that those HVAC maintenance guys that Aaron talked to, they're trying a little bit harder this week. And they're going to try even harder next week after he meets with them again. And they go over the goal, and he's pumping them up, and he's getting them the training, and he's following up on the to-dos and all of those things. I can guarantee you the people in Lancaster, Ohio, yes, that is how you say it, apparently. I guarantee that in just a short amount of time, he will have their buy. And this is after delivering quite a bit of not great news to them. Their location's moving, they're getting a new leader. It was a little bit tense in that room, okay? But if he can take that situation where we didn't hand him a whole lot of positivity, right? If he can take that and gain the buy-in of that team, I think that shows us that him spending the time, him following up on the to-dos, him doing all of those things is going to lead to success. And the funny thing was, as we were talking to them, as we were giving them all of these kind of not great pieces of news, after the meeting was over, there was a lot of, hey, have we thought about doing this? Have we thought about doing that? Oh, we need to get this gas certification, I don't know what it is, gas certification over in Ohio to touch a gas line. Oh, no, didn't even know that, man. Do we just need to sign you up? It's like, yeah, someone just needs to take it, but that'll allow us to, get more work. Or we had a couple of the salespeople like, hey, yeah, we're seeing this out there, and, we're having some success against this and all of these things. So like all of a sudden, because we were there talking to them, figuring all this stuff out, all of a sudden they started to come up with these ideas of how we could all grow simply by people being heard. Well, the only way for people to know that they're being heard is to probably sit down and talk to them, right? And again, I get it. Some of you guys got a lot of people. But what I can guarantee you is the most effective thing you can do as a leader is that. I know it sounds weird. Leadership is a weird thing, right? As a leader, you give up complete control over the outcome, and you have to trust in the people on your team to deliver it. That sounds backward, doesn't it? A lot of you are really, really good, in most cases still is, great at a particular trade. You know how to do it, but it's not about that anymore. It's about raising that lid, raising our effectiveness with our team so that they can perform at a higher level, so that they get where they want to go. Because as we've talked for the last 2 weeks, when they get where they want to go, we get where we want to go. There's a great book out there. It's called Leaders Eat Last, right? Leaders eat last. Because we do. That's what we signed up for. But what I can tell you is eating last, that is the most fulfilling place to eat. If you haven't, take a minute and just think about that person on your team. Think about the person on your team who is a giant headache, who is someone who maybe they can't show up on time. Maybe they struggle with the Peterman way. Maybe they just always got something. What would it look like if you could get through to that person? Because oftentimes, that person has a lot of talent in there. They got a lot of freaking talent. We just got to connect with it. Look at the NFL. Let's either watch the NFL. Isn't it weird that the teams that were good last year, some of them suck this year? It's not a talent issue. They all got freaking talent. They're the best players in the world. But you watch these teams, and you watch the leader of these teams change in and out. And you watch them go here, and then here, and here, and then here. The leader is connecting with those people. I watch the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions for all of my life have always sucked, right? Like, I mean, it's like almost fun to watch them on Thanksgiving because you know they're going to get dropped by 30. It's like, God dang, they have to do this every single year. Well, about 2 or 3 years ago, they got a new coach. They had a good quarterback. They traded him for a quarterback that somehow everybody else thought sucked. And all of a sudden, he's really good now. They drafted a few good players, and all of a sudden, they're one of the best teams in the league. If you get a chance, watch Dan Campbell, who is their head coach, watch his opening press conference when he is announced the coach. You can feel the passion, and you're like, I don't think he's going to let this team fail. Either he's going to get the team to run through that wall, or he himself is going to run through the wall and create a hole so that everybody else can run through. And what you see is you see him connecting with all these players. You see the buy-in of like, hey, that guy was really talented, but he played on a bunch of crappy teams. Well, now he's like a huge contributor to this really good team. And what would it look like? You think about it. That person on your team who's a headache, what if you got them to buy in? What if all of a sudden the person that shows up to every meeting and is crotchety and doesn't show up on time and does this, what if you got them buying in and them helping lead the charge? They may be your most valuable asset. Because if you get them buying in, what do you think everybody else is going to think? What the hell happened with Bill? What do you think he's going to tell the team? Well, you know, me and Andrew, we sat down, we hashed things out. I felt like I was heard. I got some things going. He's got me some training set up. I'm really ready to go. Like, I'm just ready to rock and roll. No one shows up to do a shitty job. It's our job, if they're currently doing one, to get them out of that and push them forward. You've all had breakthroughs with people. Like, holy shit, where did this guy come from? He used to have a terrible attitude, or he couldn't show up on time. And now, like, we had a sit-down conversation and it clicked. And it doesn't work every time, right? But when it doesn't work, what if you tried even harder? Bill, I know we sat down yesterday. We talked about you not showing up on time, and today it is currently 8:15. And I think we both well know that's not on time. So what do I need to do? I overheard a conversation with Andrew, who asked an electrician, what can I do to make sure that you show up on time? Do you need me to call you in the morning? There may be people on your team that you may have to lend that type of hand to, because everyone's got potential. We just have to figure out how to tap into it. We've had so many countless stories this year of someone who was in a role, not doing great. We put them in another role and we're like, holy shit, where'd this person come from? We got them on the right seat, right? Well, you may not have a lot of seats to trade around on your team, right? Like, well, you got to kind of do the stuff. So we're going to have to work really, really hard to get them to a point where I have literally given my entire being to making sure that you are successful. And if they choose not to, some may, then that's okay. But you know that you did everything humanly possible to make sure that they were successful. It's when we write off people and you say, oh, he's not going to work. Well, bad news, you hired them. So if you thought they were good here and now they're not, what's changed? Or more importantly, what hasn't happened in the middle? What would it look like if a person gets to the very end and it is, we can't do anything. I think we're going to have to part as friends. And you bring up documentation that says, I've met with this guy for 5 days in a row trying to get this thing going. Like, we've given it everything we possibly can. My guess is you'd never get to that day 5. Because by about day 3, he kind of sees, oh shit, they're not giving up on me. They're coming hot. I better either get this shit right, or are we going to meet at 6th day? Or to meet with this guy. We all have that ability. The reason that we neglect it is because it doesn't happen immediately, right? Well, I met with him last week. Nothing happened. Sit down and review what didn't happen. Let's figure it out. And it's that simple act that it is my belief will create a team and, more importantly, allow you to become a more effective leader. And if we raise the level of effectiveness of the people that are on this call and in this room, where do you think our teams are going to go? My guess is they're not going to go backward. Now, some may go a little bit further than others, and that's okay. We'll keep working at it. Just as Andrew said last week, yeah, you may not have the greatest one-on-one conversation in the world, but I think we would all agree just giving them the time to be heard, just giving them the time for them to know that I really freaking care about you. I want you to do better than you ever have. That is what will make the difference. That is what grows departments. That is what grows companies, because people are bought in. We talk about our culture here. We talk about people being bought in. Are your people bought into you, caring about them more than any other place they've ever been? It is the manager that cares more than anybody. Every day shows up and says, there is no one in this entire industry that is going to care about their people more than me. No one likes tough conversations, right? Those are always hard. Guess what? The more consistently you meet with them and the more that they know that you care about them, they're not really all that tough anymore, are they? You're more like friends, just caring about each other. But you got to build that relationship, and relationships take time. As we kind of wrap up, I want to put in front of you, as it relates to our effectiveness as leaders, as it relates to the law of the lid, is again from Maxwell, and it is 4 questions that I ask myself as a leader. And I think all 4 of these point to, where's my effectiveness? Am I investing in myself? How are you growing as a leader? That's what I'm trying to do right now, is I want to invest everything humanly possible in you guys. Yeah, the format looks a little different, but my commitment to you is we're going to meet every week, and I'm going to give you every freaking resource that you need. If you got someone on your team that you can't get through or has a bad attitude, send me an email and I'll meet with them with you. And I guarantee we'll get him turned around. 100%. Someone better send me an email, because oftentimes I put these things out there and I get nothing. But someone send me something. Let's go help somebody, by God. Send me someone who's got a bad attitude or can't show up on time or is struggling with the process or just gives you grief. And let's sit down and meet with them. And let's tell them together how much we care about them. There's also a ton of other resources. You know, when I first got into this shit, I didn't know what leadership was. I was a political science major in college. If anything, political science, that may be like the antithesis of leadership. But what I did is I just said, I don't know how to do this shit. And some of you may be sitting in that same spot, right? I don't know what in the hell I'm doing. Good. The best way to get better is just to do it. So I picked up books. I listened to podcasts. There's so much stuff out there. And it's all about, this is my thinking. Like, I've read hundreds of books on leadership. What I'm telling you don't have to do is go read hundreds of books on leadership. Okay? Don't go do that. That seems daunting. I'm kind of a nerd. That seemed exciting to me. It doesn't need to seem exciting to you. The key is to put yourself in that frame of mind, right? Like, when I read books, it's not like I'm like checking back to like, well, I need to do this and I shoot step 3, step 4. No, it's just all of that energy, all of that teaching around what leadership actually is. That's how you start to think. And so while you may be sitting in a place where you're like, I know they keep talking about these one-on-one things. I know they keep talking about meeting with people and caring about them, but I just wish people did what they were supposed to do. And that's okay, because that's human nature, right? There's times when I just wish that people did what they were supposed to do. I've got 2 little kids. I wish they did what I said to do every morning. But every command takes 3 times, and that's okay. But invest in yourself. As your effectiveness goes up, you too will go up. Because the people that rise, the people that take on new challenges, the people that do extraordinary things are the people that invested in themselves first. What do we always say? What's one of our values? Lead ourselves. What does that look like? Are you truly leading yourself? What I can tell you is when you do that inventory, it won't be pretty, right? Every year on my birthday, I write out my goals for that year. You know what kind of exercise that is? Freaking painful. A lot of those goals are shit that I didn't do the previous year, or that I wrote down and I had no desire to do, or it sucked. And I was like, work out every day. That seems stupid. I don't feel up tired. Take that inventory. Where do you want to go? What are you going to need to get there? What I can tell you is growing as a leader will get you a hell of a lot further than just saying, well, I'm going to work hard. Working hard is a component. The more that we build that leadership muscle, the more that we can show people and are effective at really encouraging them and getting them to head in the right direction, that's when people take notice. That's when things start to get easier in a way. Because it's like, shit, I had to meet with Bill and Steve and Johnny and Aaron about showing up on time, and now they just show up on time. Hey, they're doing great. Now I'm just working with them to get them to the next level. Those conversations are fun. I can guarantee you, Aaron, here in a couple of months, is going to have some really fun conversations with some maintenance guys who are killing it. And he's like, oh, damn, we just need to get you some service skills and you're about ready. Because they know that they want to make him proud. They know that he cares. And if someone cares about you, the last thing that you want to do is disappoint them, right? But if we don't show them we care, they'll probably disappoint us all day long and not give a shit. The next one is, am I genuinely interested in others? As humans, we're wired to be selfish. It keeps us alive, so it is a good thing. However, being a leadership, as we talked earlier, is all about giving up control over the outcome and motivating and inspiring others to go achieve it. Are we genuinely interested in others? How do we move our people forward? The great thing is you probably all know the answer. It's just hard to do, right? It's like getting in shape. We go around the room, everybody's got some really good ideas on how to do that. The hard part is doing it. Because beer tastes good, so does a cheeseburger. Those wouldn't be things that we need to do consistently to get in better shape. Everybody goes through it, right? So what are those things as a leader that we struggle with, that we don't want to do? We can make time for anything. We just often make time for the things that are most enjoyable, the things that aren't scary, aren't hard, are going to stretch us a little bit. And that's okay. Don't think there's anything wrong with that. Everyone is going through that. But if we want to increase our effectiveness, we got to lean into them damn things. That's where we'll see the growth. Two more. Am I taking time to think? When we take time to think, we can deliver a better message. Our effectiveness goes up. So before you go into a meeting with somebody, pull out some data. Take a look. See where they're doing really well. See where they're struggling a little bit. Not to point it out, but hey, man, you're doing fantastic here. Here's one of the areas that I'm just going to kind of use today's meeting just to figure out how I can help you. Like, what can I do? Is there something that you don't understand? Is there something you're just like running into? What is it? What's like, well, let's work through it. I'll go out on a call with you and we'll just like see it live and we'll just both work through it together. But we don't ever get there. One of the most effective things, this isn't to steal Andrew's thunder when he delivers on how to do effective one-on-ones, because I'm not great at them either. But the most important thing in my mind that you can do is prepare. Same thing goes with your service meeting. Same thing goes with any meeting. The more you prepare, the better you do. Trust me, I've sat up here and given these talks without preparing a lot, and they suck. They're not great. But when I prepare, I have all the stuff that I need to talk, well, then all of a sudden, it gets a little better. And it doesn't take a whole lot of time. 5-10 minutes. I already did the heavy lifting on this one. I just had to like find it, read through the chapter again, refresh myself, think through it this morning, write some stuff down. Okay, cool. I'm going to roll in this kind of direction. That's the one thing you can do to get better, which is, common knowledge, right? The more we practice, the more we prepare, the better we are on game day. Your meeting's game day. What are you doing to prepare before? So take the time to think. Take the time if you're driving around, shoot me a message. I'll send you umpteen different podcasts that you can listen to. But again, aren't going to give you all the answers, but may put you in a better headspace to think. You may be a more effective thinker. You may come up with an idea like, oh shit, that's a really good idea. Shoot, I didn't even think about that. And the last one that we have to think about is, am I developing leaders? Are you developing the people on your team into leaders? I know that could be a tough question, right? You're looking at Johnny. He's 24 years old. He's trying to get it, but he just, come on, man. But what if we take our perspective and we say, I'm going to take Johnny and he is going to be a leader one day. He may have a long way to go, but where do we know that it starts? Leading ourselves. What if your whole project with Johnny, he's 24, okay? So what can we do with him to develop some of those life skills that you already have? That when you were 24, you knew that you were dumb too. Showing up on time, putting in the extra work, all the little things. We can develop Johnny into a leader. What if you developed leaders on your team to the point where you didn't even host the service meeting? They did. And some of our team, they may never want to be a service manager. They may just be really passionate about being the best damn plumber that ever walked the earth. And guess what? That's cool too. But they can still be a great leader. It's going to help them in their personal life. It's going to help them as a parent. It's going to help them here. Think about it. Take your team and say, okay, if I've got 20 guys, if I really work hard on 5 that I think could be better leaders on our team, what's that look for you, like for your capacity? All of a sudden, you've got these 5 that are just knocking the cover off the ball, helping others, doing trainings, riding with people if they need it. They're bought in. They will experience that same feeling that you have when you built them into a leader. And that is more powerful than anything. I don't care who you are. When you can help somebody, the sense of gratification that you get when you see someone succeed, when you see someone do something they've never done before. Think about it. Everyone sent the text message to the guy that just totally crushed last month. Selfishly, that feels good for you too, right? It's okay if it is. It feels good for me when I do it. But when they know that you're watching, that you care, how powerful is that? We have a plumber that is on pace to do $1 million here in Indy this year. I sat down with him like 3 months ago, and that was his thing. Like, that's what he wanted to do. So I texted him at the beginning of every month. All right, man, you're 200 away. We need back-to-back hundreds. He's like, all right, I'm on it. He goes, just so you know, my numbers are going to be better next year. I said, I got no doubt, my man. Keep killing it. I think he knows that I care. And if he doesn't, I may start texting him every week. He's going to know it. Take that mentality into today. Who on your team needs to know that you care? Simple text message. Call them up, see how they're doing, meet with them, whatever it is. They will know you care when you are consistent about it. When you really dig in, they understand that this person is not going to let me fail in hitting whatever goal it is that I have. And if I do fail, by God, we're going to learn from it and we're going to beat it next month. The key to your success is raising the lid on your effectiveness as a leader. You do that one day, one text message, one meeting, one conversation at a time. It won't fix it tomorrow. It takes time. It's like any relationship. No one's best buddies after hanging out one time. Your best buddies because you've been through stuff together. Your best buddies because you've overcome stuff together. You've helped through tough situations. You've been there to congratulate them. Think about your best friends in life. Why would you do anything for them? You know that they care about you. That's leadership. It's really simple, hard to do, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. So, as always, super simple directive. Just go care more than you ever have about your team today. Do it again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And never stop. And if you commit to that, then we'll guarantee you success.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to get connected, you can find me at chadmpeterman.com. To see what our team's up to, you can visit petermanbros.com. As always, keep growing out there.